All right, I think we are live. Yep.
Let's go.
Yay. Welcome, viewers. This is our first podcast, probably the last one. We don't know, but um, we're here to discuss, as the title implies, the state of Monster Hunter Wilds. It's an emergency podcast because we would like to, you know, share our opinions on what we have experienced with the beta and the benchmark, and also further tackle the damage control that is being controlled, if you will, by the various influencers in the Monster Hunter community, YouTubers. Um, just a brief bios about myself. My name is Duke. Um, I'm not a content creator per se, but I would probably like to at some point. I just love to stream Monster Hunter playthroughs and stuff like that, live stream them. Um, I also am a console uh, gamer, or at least I was for a very long time. I just recently purchased a PC, a high-end PC at that, and it was mainly due to the fact that after experiencing the first Wilds beta on the PlayStation 5, I wasn't so sure about how it will be in the final build. Uh, and basically, Monster Hunter franchise, I started obviously with World, but um, I've been in love with this game um, ever since I just picked up the control and played it. Um, I've actually just to kind of give some context here. I uh, this is this is my um, hours I put in World. You can see here 2,700. Pretty much like only game I play most of the time. I'm pretty sure there are obviously others that play it way more than I do. Um, but yeah, um, so I love this game basically. Uh, and what I love even more about this game is the community. Uh, it's by far the best community I've ever been in. Um, and this is also the main reason why we're making this podcast, is because, you know, there's a lot of concerns uh, within the community about um, the performance issues of Monster Hunter Wilds, and the benchmark um, didn't really reassure anyone. Quite the opposite. It just solidified that, you know, the game is gonna run really, really poorly in the final build, because obviously that's what the benchmark represents. Um, but also the fact that a lot of YouTubers and influencers, big name in the Monster Hunter community, are just being really sort of honest, you know, which is kind of also the reason why we're making this podcast. And we'll tackle that in a short while. But um, So, anyways, yeah, I purchased a PC back in November. Obviously, I didn't set it up until sometime in December. There were a lot of issues with the deliveries and stuff like that, and trying to get my hands on a RTX 4090 was a challenge, but thankfully I managed. Um, by no means I'm a rich dude. It's just I've been saving up, and I do want to really play Monster Hunter Wilds the best way I can play it. Um, and despite the fact that I can probably brute force Wilds with the 4090, it's still concerning, especially for our fellow hunters out there that don't have or not so fortunate to have a 4090. And according to the requirements that Capcom put out, it looked like it was manageable with a lot of graphics cards, but that's not what the benchmark showed. Now I understand the beta. You can't take too much from the beta. Again, it is a beta. But the benchmark is also concerning, really concerning. So yeah, I played the first beta on the PS5, atrocious. The second beta, I played it on the PC, and there was an improvement. Not gonna lie, but still, it wasn't really that much. Like I wouldn't want to obviously play the final version like the second beta. But hopefully that's not what the final version would be like. And I'm really hoping it's not like the benchmark as well. But yeah, I'm a PC gamer now. So uh, if you haven't noticed, I have my partner in crime here, Louis. Louis, you want to introduce yourself, buddy?
Oh, oh yes, it's me, Luigi. How are you today?
Good, good. How's it going?
Yes, I come to you. I come to you with grave tidings for the Monster Hunter community. The optimism. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Yeah, no, I'm just here. Name's Luigi. I play video games. I'm sure we all do. I'm just here today to also kind of piggyback off Duke here and talk about Wilds and my concerns for the game. I don't really have too many credentials to go into, but I've been gaming since I was a kid, born in the 90s. So, tail end of SNES, N64, blah, blah, blah. I am looking forward to talking about Wilds. Looking forward.
Let's go. All right. So let's get into it. Let's not take too much time. If you notice the background here, I've recorded my benchmarks, but I won't show them all. I'll just show the quality, DLSS quality with ray tracing off, to just get a better idea of how that's gonna run. Now, I'll just let it play right now in the background. But I've noticed in others as well that during the cutscenes, the frame rates look better. It's just when it comes to the actual gameplay section that things get a little weird.
Yeah, it's
So
especially notable like when you get to the freaking what do you call that? When you get to the field, like when the weather effects happen, when it like transitions to like the plenty,
right,
right?
yeah,
And the field's just full of like endemic life, and the the moment when like the hunter jumps down in the benchmark, and it as soon as you hit that plane, it's like, oh, there goes your frame rate.
Yeah.
So
You just turn
um,
the volume off here. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you can see here that I got a Intel Core i9 14900K with RTX 4090, and you know the frame rates in the cutscenes look decent. Look, you know, average 95. That's pretty good on a 4K resolution. That's not bad, right? But again, this is the cutscene, right? It's just when it starts going into the gameplay section. Oh, and by the way, for some reason, my CPU temperature is like at the highest 70s, mid 80s. And it's sort of consistent. And no, it doesn't have to do anything with the like the thermal paste or the cooling. I've set up. I've actually I didn't set up my PC per se. I tried, you know, but got to a point where I think I sort of kind of fucked up. So I took my PC to a more experienced person, and he helped me out. Here we go with the gameplay. It's, you know, hitting the 70s, 70. Yeah, it'll drop down as well. It's kind of you see this, Louis, right? For a RTX 4090 and you know, not a really good CPU, not the best obviously out there, but it could try to hold its own. This frame rate is weird, right? Weirdly low, if you will.
yes, yeah. For the setup, it should run. Should be running a lot better.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of par for the course, right? I think the real thing too is like, obviously people talk about bottlenecking, CPU bottlenecking versus GPU bottlenecking. Talk about these sorts of games, and I think a lot of the breakdown videos I've been looking at too, people have been talking about how, well, a lot of current CPUs aren't necessarily well equipped to handle wilds because of how many assets like Capcom's got getting loaded in at once. Like even if you turn down like certain settings, like graphical settings or resolution settings on certain cards, it's like, oh, when graphics card performance isn't the limiting factor, when you like, you know, you turn on ultra performance, you lower frame rates. Lower resolutions.
Right.
Turn on DLSS or whatever form of scaling your card supports. You kind of notice like, hey, at least for me, right? I've noticed, hey, frame rate's not really improving too much. Now, in my case, I have an Intel Core i9 10900K. It's ancient by tech standards. Still a beast of a processor, but it's showing its age. You know, especially in this game for me, it is showing its age. Granted, I'm running a 3080 Ti. That is also a component that is showing its age. However, even when lowering the resolution, I've noticed that in certain points my frame rate will dip significantly, especially during the end, towards the end of the benchmark when you get into that village, that village with all the shiny, what are those like chandelier looking things, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
I don't know. And you know, looking at other people's benchmarks,
The wind charms, I think they're called.
Yeah, those chimes. Those like
Yeah,
chimes,
chimes,
glowy chimes.
wind chimes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like, you know, kind of looking at other people's benchmarks and kind of like general discussion, it's like, hey, you know, that's a CPU intensive segment. I'm
Right.
like, okay, all right, well that may make sense because I mean, like, you know, it kind of matches. I mean, same
Yeah,
thing
see-
kind of happens out in the field. It's like the frame rates dip, even if I like lower resolution, it still dips. It's like, well, you know, I brought up a tool that I got to look at my utilization, right? The built-in NVIDIA statistics bar,
Mm-hmm.
because they do give you some information about GPU utilization, CPU utilization, percentages, and whatnot. And yeah, I do notice a bit of bottlenecking with my CPU. I do notice like, hey, my CPU utilization is damn near like 90%, while my GPU is like in the low 50s at lower resolutions. So it's like, okay, man, I might need to upgrade my CPU. But the thing is, my CPU is above what they are recommending for minimum, right? It's not for the recommended setting. It's not above what they're recommending for recommended. It's kind of in that middle ground, right?
Right.
But that's the thing, right? If I'm in the middle ground like that, I'm not expecting the game to run amazingly well, right? But I don't expect the game to run as if it's barely running either, especially when I'm making so many concessions. And that was like another thing that I kind of noticed with the open beta. This is a good segue into like the console beta, right? Because you've experienced it too. Like playing the console beta, and it's like they have two presets, right? They've got like the quality preset, and then they got the performance preset. I'm the kind of person, I don't mind turning down sliders for the sake of improving performance. But at least on console, at least on PlayStation, I noticed, I turned on performance mode, and the game doesn't even hit 60 frames per second consistent. Like, if ever. It felt more like sub 50, maybe low 40s. And for how bad the game looks running it at that preset, to me it's like, if I'm going to make the sacrifice for consistent performance, it has to be worth it. For me, it's worth it.
That's the other thing, Louis. Sorry to cut you off. Is the image quality fucking sucks?
Yeah, it does. It does. It's atrocious. And I know it's like, I think it's too, right? Like I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, it doesn't look as good as World. I kind of say that too, right? And, to be fair, Wilds does have a lot more going on in its environments.
Right.
At least, there's a lot more endemic life. There's like a lot of things walking around, dynamic weather system. I mean, World kind of had a dynamic weather system in the Ancient Forest. It rained sometime, but it wasn't as involved as like Wilds' system, right?
It's true. It's true. The Wilds does have a lot of things.
Yeah.
But, this is sort of what also sparked the notion that the issue here is the RE engine. RE engine specifically with open world games, right? Because obviously the RE engine was developed to make Resident Evil 7, I think, right? Which is basically a linear story narrative game, right? But then I think they also... So it started with RE7. It was the engine that Rise was playing on, right? But again, Rise really doesn't demand a lot, right? Graphically. And also, Rise maps weren't really considered open, like comparing it with World even, not even Wilds, So this is also what's going to lead us now into checking with the one of the Monster Hunter community influencers. He's probably, viewers will know who he is once shown, but in one of his streams, he did a stream to show us his 5-hour preview of Monster Hunter Wilds. He played at Capcom headquarters, and this is where it's really, really confusing, right, Louis? So people are saying, like YouTubers as well, that, you know, okay, the beta is not the final build. We understand that. That's a given, right? But when you say the benchmark isn't a representative of the final build, and then you say the preview that we played isn't also representative of the final build, right? Like, so what is it, right? Like, the community is fucking confused, you know. People with the minimum requirement graphic cards and the recommended ones are doing the benchmark, and you know, most of them are just, you know, shocked at the results, you know.
Yeah. I agree.
So yeah, it's crazy because, look, I'm hoping things are gonna turn up, right? Things are, you know, it's just weird, man, how all of these iterations that we played and the big YouTubers had access to are not representative of the final build. You know? So, like, what assurance do we have, or what reassurance do we have into, you know, make us buy the game? Like so far it's like, you know, this is really, really concerning, obviously. And is it recommended to wait before you purchase, you know, to see if, you know, I wouldn't probably say a day one patch, but, like, you know, updates somewhere down the line will fix things? I don't know. But sure as hell, like, if you benchmark if you're doing the benchmark and this is the results you're getting, I feel you shouldn't buy the game. Honestly. Not yet, at least. And this is coming from a Monster Hunter enthusiast. Like I only mostly just play this game, you know. But at the same time, I'm gonna be real, you know. Like, as much as I seriously appreciate the devs for making such an incredible franchise, right? You know, at the end they are asking me for my money, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I'm gonna give my money away, I expect, you know, something in return, you know. And that's why I don't understand the also the influencers, YouTubers. And, you know, let me just show you one example here. You pretty much know this guy.
Builds up, Iron Breakers.
Yeah. All right. So let me turn this down also. Okay. All right. So this is the stream he did. Monster Hunter Wilds preview. Played the first 5 hours and my thoughts, right? And I will delve also deeper into the whole thoughts, and should he be even giving thoughts or even opinions on the game because of some recent transaction that happened, right? and this goes not just to him, to all YouTubers and influencers, right? So I was on this stream, and the reason I'm not full screening it here is because my comment will show up, so I'll pause it and he'll read it out as well. So let's go ahead and start the so someone initiated this some other viewer about the PC concern, right? PC performance.
Yeah.
Just 1 second. I don't know if hold on. I don't think there's an audio for it yet. Wait. Let me hook this up. I think I forgot to put the audio.
Or is there?
There could be.
I'm about to say we're doing this live, right?
Yep.
I don't see you live on Twitch. Are you on YouTube?
No, I'm on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on YouTube.
Okay, hang on. Let me make sure. I'm like refreshing and looking. And I'm like, what am I looking? Where am I looking? But also, Cosmic's bot didn't seem to ping when you went live. I don't know if it's live. It does.
No,
that
it's only
YouTube
for Twitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cosmic bot. Oh, but you have it unlisted, so it's not going to show up. Okay, never mind. You said you were on unlisted before we did the thing. Okay, we're cool. You know, kind of on the riding off the coattails of what you were saying with regards to a lot of the content creators having very what's the word I'm looking for here? What's the word that I can say that'll make me sound way smarter than I actually? Hang on. Muted criticism content creators. That's I think what I'm trying to get at, right? Like the whole idea of like when people criticize the game, a lot of the content creators are like, oh, it's this isn't the final game. The final game's it's like as much as I would love for it to be true that like, oh hey, the final game is a total 180 from the beta, a total 180 from the benchmark tool. We live we got to live in the real world, right? The turnaround time that they have to fix these issues is very limited. And honestly, at this point, I mean, I don't even know if they're even doing any last minute work right now. I feel like the game's basically like it's set, right? Unless there's like an emergency bug fix they gotta send out or something. But even then, like the game doesn't go live officially till next week, right? So my whole thing is most of the content creators have gone hush because I'm sure they all got their early access copies and they're in the process of making one like their own month's worth of content to kind of hold them over until updates come out and they can just focus on playing the end game. But for me, it's like I find it kind of odd, right? A lot of the suspects. I find it odd that a lot of the suspects, the people that have been kind of muting criticism, have been the same people that have been flown out by Capcom to play, to play the test version of Wilds. They've gotten a lot of like, they've gotten free swag from Capcom. Same thing is kind of like they're deeply tied to a lot of Capcom's PR work, right? Like I just think it's weird. Like it's like, hey, these people who are very close to Capcom and get all these benefits don't have anything bad to say about Capcom, even though it's very obvious that it's going to be a shit show.
Yeah,
Isn't that weird?
that is weird.
Funny how that works. And more to the point, when World came out, now a lot of people make this point too, and then some of these content creators say this, like World didn't run good when it came out. True. World was kind of a bit of a mess, right? I mean, Capcom used an older game engine. They kind of used a duct tape together version of MT Framework to get World running, and there are a lot of problems. The PS4 Pro even kind of struggled a bit to run that game. But the thing that World had that Wilds doesn't really have.
What?
You know what it has? World looked like it needed. The World looked like the kind of game that earned that. World looked like the kind of game that needed strong hardware to play. It didn't look like a washed down version of 4U. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like it looked like an actual brand new game. It looked like they actually put a lot of work into the environments and detail. And I'm not saying Wilds doesn't look like it's got a lot of details, but the visuals are very washed out. The texture work is shoddy at best. I know there's supposed to be a high resolution texture pack released. I mean, maybe that'll help clean that up a bit, but obviously turning off DLSS would help. Running at native resolutions. I mean, okay, fine, right?
Yeah.
But even still, to me, it's like there's not really a lot going on in Wilds environments. Obviously, we've only seen like what the Windward Plains. Obviously, a lot of the promo material shown other maps, so it remains to be seen if that's just how Wilds will be all around, or if it's just the Windward Plains. I do hope I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about other regions, it's going to be, the forest has a lot of vegetation, right? So it's probably going to even run worse. That assuming they didn't really, assuming that we're going by the benchmark quality being as the representative of the final game. Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Anyways, I think I got the audio. Let's play this again.
All right.
Let me just turn it up. Okay. Here we go.
Discord so that I can get it. Like, tag me on it. Because I just need to know the time, and I'll see about making like an event for tomorrow or something. Jonah Eaton, good with that SNS? You know it, dude. I just want to know how it runs on PC, man. I'm freaking out. Test the benchmark. There's a benchmark. Do people not know that there's a benchmark right now? There's a benchmark tool going on right now. And by the way, before people start exiting and stuff, I just want to remind you guys, the beta that you're getting next week does not have the performance improvements of the final version of the game, okay? I know that there's a beta not next week, at the end of this week. The beta that we're getting at the end of the week does not have the performance improvements of the final game. If you want to know how it runs on PC, get the benchmark tool, test it that way. That's what the benchmark tool is there for. Can't wait to see the Lance changes. I can tell you, Jay Walco, that Lance does have the thing where you can just do counter thrust whenever you want, and it works just like it does in Monster World, because I tested that.
This is my
because I was there and I was like, hey, 2-6, rattle off some more of the changes that we need to go look at. Because 2-6 was sitting next to me, and 2-6 was like, oh, check out the Lance, see if you can do the counter thrust. And yeah, you just hold down right trigger, press circle, you do the counter thrust. Nursilla looks like it got such a makeover. Oh my god, yeah, it does. And this next beta will have 24 hours until Monday. Yeah, I've heard to account for the PSN outage. Yeah. will be in a new beta. Nothing. It's just there's you can fight Gypsros and Arkveld. I don't know if I'm gonna be playing the next one, guys, because I don't want to burn myself out before the game comes out. We've already spent like quite a few hours in that beta, and I've done pretty much all I want to do in that beta. Unless they put a new monster in there, which I don't think they did. I don't know if I'm gonna be streaming the next beta.
Shit, I want the beta again now.
Can you do Super Amp unmorphed on Charge Blade? No. I think that's just... I don't think that was part of the changes, was it? I think you still have to do the whole slam it down, spin it around, do that. Did they buff up Switch Axe damage? I know that the build that I played here had the Hyper Armor thing. I don't know if they buffed the damage, but the Hyper Armor was in. So I went to the training
Should be
ground,
coming soon.
and I made it do the smash. And when the training dummy was smashing, I popped the... what's it called? Full release? Whatever. And it just ate that right in the face, and it just kept on doing the full release. Didn't even trigger it at all.
All right, here we go.
Am I the only one not really feeling this beta? I mean, if you played it the first time, Capcom
Let me pause
did
it
say...
here. All right, so this is my comment that probably started stuff. The benchmark is concerning if it's a representative of the final game. My RTX 4090, 14900K on DLSS quality is giving me 78 FPS, which I showed my benchmark. It did hit 78, even below at around 60, something like that. But obviously the average score was higher. All right, so let's see.
that the purpose of this beta is just for people who didn't get in on the first time. Benchmarks is concerning if it's a representative of the final game. Excuse me, my RTX 4090 on DLSS quality is giving me 78 FPS. Check your RAM. Check your RAM timings. That can actually affect it quite a bit. If there's something wrong with that.
Okay.
Give me a second here.
I mean, already got 64 gig overclock, which
Big Bad Wolf, thank you very much for
I'm gonna
the
share
souls. Tip of the hat.
that
Appreciate
response
it.
soon here as well.
I have a Ryzen 7 3700X and a 5700 XT without frame gen. I got 20,000 score with an excellent rating with medium settings. I can't read the whole thing. I don't know why I can't read the whole thing, but yeah, looks like you got good with that. Again, I think that there are some things that are happening. Like, I don't know if everybody's got their drivers updated, but I've been seeing some very different results when it comes to the benchmark,
This is the damage control here.
which is kind of weird.
You know, like
I'm not,
apparently
like, by the way, I'm not
people
saying
tend
that
to forget to update their drivers.
The game is like
is that a
super
thing in the
mega
PC scene?
optimized,
Because
but
I'm new to
what
it,
the benchmark
but I
tool
do
shows
check
us
the drivers
is that
every
it is
now and then.
night and day difference from the previous beta. That's the one thing that I've said this whole time. Just say that the party invite system is so jank. Hey, I have a video for that. You can just watch my video. You'll understand the whole thing. Super easy. RAM's just fine. 64 gigs overclocked. Okay, then I don't know.
So,
I
yeah.
don't know what's happening then.
That's my quote right there that he read. My RAM is just fine, 64 gigabyte overclock.
I don't know why you're only getting... Like, I feel like I'm getting more than that on my system.
See,
And
okay,
I have a 7900 XTX, which is not as powerful.
all right. So he mentioned what his graphics card was, right? Okay, just keep that in mind because we're gonna discuss the two.
Powerful as the 4090. Benchmark kind of makes leading, to be fair, it mostly shows cutscenes. If you want to know the performance outside of cutscenes, you should look at the scene where they're jumping around and then it transitions from inclemency into plenty. That's one of the best cutscenes to see how it's going to perform in your system, because that's where I noticed a huge frame dip. So that'll be one of the scenes that you want to replay over and over to to get a vibe as to how it feels. Don't rely on like the average FPS. Again, this is Capcom's first time doing a benchmark tool for Monster Hunter, so we couldn't expect it to be the best thing ever. I'm just happy we got one. World was good on launch, performance talking. I've heard a lot of people say bad things about it, but I played on launch, I played on PlayStation. So I don't remember playing too much on PC initially when it came out. I only played it on PC a little bit later. I played a little bit of it on PC, and it wasn't too bad on my system, but I never really put it through its paces because my main save was on PlayStation. The one scene where it's grass fields where it tanks from open. Yeah, that's the one that I'm saying. If the benchmark could have an option to run certain parts of the benchmark would be great. Yeah, like I said, you know, it was their first time making a tool, and I'm pretty sure that they did it kind of like last minute. I even remember that when we got the first beta, I was trying to tell Jono, listen, you got to. I was like pushing Jono, please tell the team, tell them, please benchmark. This benchmark tool, we need benchmark, please. Like I very much like I tried to, you know, convince them that doing a benchmark would be a really good idea. I'm not saying it happened because of me, because it was likely not the case. They probably had it planned long before I even brought it up in order to get it done. But yeah, I'm just happy that we got one, is what I'm saying. How old was this build you played? I don't know. I think it was the Osaka build. Again, not confirmed, but I think it was the Osaka build that media folks got to play a couple of months ago.
So that build is not also the final version, apparently.
World had booty performance when it came out? Yeah, that I don't know. I know that Iceborne was sitting on mixed reviews for a very long time because people had performance issues with Iceborne.
Okay. In another live stream, I think he was also there was I don't know if you know Preach Gaming. He recently did a sort of a series of live streams playing World and Iceborne, and he was on one of his streams, or I think they did a separate live stream after Preach managed to slay Electrion. And in that stream, he mentioned a review bombing of Iceborne. And the reason behind the review bombing was because of Electrion. No one could beat Electrion, and they got frustrated. But here he says that the mixed review was because of performance. I don't know which one is correct, you know?
We need NVIDIA driver properly too. Yeah.
I mean, the fallout is still apparent.
You might have ray tracing on, while
like you go to the benchmark tool.
That's
you go to,
the
like,
interesting
Steam,
thing.
and it's just a whole bunch of posts about people complaining about their specs.
All right. So someone else chimed in and about my 4090 result and mentioned probably the ray tracing was on.
Was sitting on mixed reviews for a very long time because people had performance issues with Iceborne. We need NVIDIA driver properly too. Yeah. You might have ray tracing on while we might have thinking of it off. That's the interesting thing. I can do ray tracing on my GPU on the benchmark tool, and it's not actually a problem. I actually don't lose that much performance for ray tracing. I'm still not going to use it because I think ray tracing is kind of worthless, but I actually didn't lose almost any performance at all with ray tracing on, which was very surprising.
Okay, let's just stop it right here just for a sec. So if you're curious, he never live streamed his benchmark, right? He never, despite the fact that Rurikon tends to fish for content because obviously that's what his job is as a content creator, right? And every YouTuber that plays Monster Hunter or that creates content around Monster Hunter, maybe not every, but most of them actually showed their benchmark, whether in a live stream or recorded, right? But surprisingly, not Rurikon. And the benchmark is a really hot topic. You know, if you're a content creator looking for content, that's content right there. But you tend to sort of think as to why he's not doing it, right? But he did make a benchmark, but it was a screenshot, right? But it's not a benchmark of his gaming rig that he's talking about, the 7900, right? And I'll show you the screenshot and give my own thoughts on as to what's behind this particular screenshot, at least what I think of, right? Okay, so now it's going to lead up to the whole
Wild's ray tracing is only for reflections.
RE
Yeah,
engine
again, it's just mostly stuff that I don't care
subject.
that much about. So
All right, so
probably not
here's
gonna
here's my comment. I strongly believe the RE engine can't handle open world game design. Even the texture quality on highest settings look weird.
strongly believe the RE engine can't handle open world game design. Even the texture quality on highest settings look weird. I think that
All right, so this is where
something that
he
I've mentioned before. It's kind of frustrating to me. Brandy Buck.
Yeah,
Master
this is
Ranks
where he
Melee
gets really
expansion is
frustrated.
correct. Yes, tip of the hat. Thank you for the souls.
don't
This
talk
is
about the
something that
RE engine
frustrates me a little
basically.
bit, which is everybody has been taking a dump all over RE engine. Pretty much ever since Dragon's Dogma. Everybody just dumps on RE engine. Before Dragon's Dogma, it was the other way around. Everybody loved RE engine. You know, because the Resident Evil games, because of the fact that we got Rise and Sunbreak out of it, which was running on Switch, which looked like nothing short of a small miracle. Everybody loved RE engine before Dragon's Dogma. Then Dragon's Dogma came out, and it immediately, everybody hates the RE engine now. I see everybody's got like this big opinion on how the RE engine is garbage and blah, 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 blah. RE engine is terrible. RE engine bad. It's like a meme. And the funny thing to me is, it took literally one game for this to happen. Whereas, interestingly enough, whenever it comes to Unreal 5, I see games coming out all the time that run like shit, and everybody still glazes Unreal 5 nonstop. And I'm just like, okay, wait a minute. We've had one bad game on RE Engine, one, so far. I'm not saying WoW's not going to be bad. It might be terrible, for all I know. I haven't played it. I don't know. Wilds might end up being the worst game they've ever put out in terms of performance. I doubt it. But it might. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But the fact of the matter is, everybody is shitting all over RE Engine over Dragon's Dogma 2, but everybody's still glazing Unreal Engine 5, despite the fact we've had 5, 6, 7 games that came out that are total dog water. So yeah, please tell me more. Tell me more about how bad the RE engine is, you know?
I mean, I'm getting the feeling that he may have created the RE engine himself. What are your thoughts, Louis?
Yeah, he seems pretty butthurt for no reason, honestly.
Like, it's kind of weird, right? Um, Look, I get the fact that, you know, we all love this game. I mean, Monster Hunter franchise as a whole, right? Um, and we want the game to be better. Now, obviously, our discussion on the RE engine is really not gonna matter. You know, they're not just like gonna see everyone talk about how the RE engine is not able to play sort of, or not able to create open world games on, and then just scrap it now and just go back to the drawing board, right? That's not what's going to happen, but it is a discussion to talk about. It is a topic to talk about, right? And it's weird how, you know, he's saying that because of Dragon's Dogma, we're shitting on the RE engine. Well, that's the thing. The RE engine wasn't made in mind for open world games or semi open world games, right? I mean, granted, the what was that game with the dinosaurs? Not Dino Crisis. The service based game. Xeno, no, Primal or some shit like that.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but I don't know if that was an open world game though. You know, yes, it had, you know, larger areas, um but then again, the RE engine was, you know, created for Resident Evil and mostly linear driven games, you know, like Devil May Cry and stuff, you know. Um so it's kind of weird that he's really upset about us shitting on the RE engine. Well, we're not really shitting on it, right? The RE engine is a good engine. We enjoyed playing Resident Evil on it, right? And Devil May Cry, right? But, you know, let's be real. Dragon's Dogma was an indicator. And Wild's beta and benchmark sort of confirm it in a way. Now, they could probably, you know, sort of do a miracle, you know, for the final version of the game. I don't know, but it is sort of an interesting thought that the RE engine might not be able to handle open world games, right? Um, let's continue just for a little bit more.
I don't agree. We've had one bad game from RE Engine. One. Let's see when Wilds comes out what it's like. And if you think that RE Engine's not good, don't buy the game right now. Wait for reviews. If reviews are saying it's not good, then let's wait a little bit longer. Particularly wait for the Digital Foundry review, because they're going to be the ones that are going to really dive in and give you all the nitty-gritty of what's going wrong with the game.
By the way, Digital Foundry did put up a video about the benchmark. I'll try to see if I can link it in the description. And, you know, I'm not going to show it here because obviously it's podcast is going to take forever. Although I wish I could, but you should actually check it out. And it wasn't. They didn't have anything good to say, and they also brought up Dragon's Dogma, and even to the extent where they said that Dragon's Dogma, in a way, performed better. You know, so yeah, that's Digital Foundry, right? Saying that. So
it's not going to be me, because I'm not skilled enough to understand all the things, right? Whatever. But I just think that it kind of sucks that we're condemning this engine because of one bad game. Nobody is glazing you E5? Bro, I don't know if I'm living in an alternate reality. I see it all the time. Even back like when Armored Core came out. You guys remember when before Armored Core came out and we had the Fex for Life preview? And dude was like, yeah, game looks like dog water. They should have used Unreal Engine 5. Yeah, I know about that. I know about all that. But yeah. Portugal is an alternate reality. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we got the idea, right? What are your thoughts, Louis?
Well, kind of like what I was saying earlier, my thoughts are I feel like a lot of these content creators, especially the ones that have been doing the previews and have been kind of going radio silent lately, I feel like they're in bed with Capcom. I feel like they've gotten special access and special privileges in exchange for their praise of the game and the use of their influence to kind of set this idea in the community's head that everything's fine. You know, they've kind of used this method to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. And what's going to happen? Well, this is what's going to happen, Duke. The game's going to come out. It is most likely going to be a mess, especially with Denuvo being incorporated. It's already got issues without Denuvo. Now, add Denuvo on top of that, it's going to be a shit show. That's what I think is going to happen. And there will be hell to pay.
Yeah, the new.
They were going to burn a lot of trust with their communities. That's what I think is going to happen. But maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I am. I really.
My thoughts on Rurikon and how he's, you know, deflecting a lot of these concerns and everything. Now, just I want to be clear. I honestly believe that Rurikon is a nice guy. I really do. Right? It's just that I feel he got lost in the sauce, if you will. You know, I mean, obviously he's been getting a lot of attention from the developers, right? And you know, he's sort of like rubbing shoulders with them and everything, and you know, the Monster Hunter community manager, you know, has him on a lot of sort of podcasts and stuff like that, and vice versa and everything. So he's pretty well connected, you know. And you would think, like, as a sort of content creator, you know, and you know, establishing your channel on, you know, your sort of honest opinions about games and stuff like that. In this instance, Monster Hunter. I believe you owe it to your viewers, you know, to give them the truth, you know. It does not look good at all, right? I understand that his channel sort of skyrocketed with Monster Hunter World, or gradually, but you know, certainly just kind of went up. So, but you got to understand, you know, who was behind that, right? Yeah, sure, the devs created the game that helped you with that because you streamed it and everything. But without the fan base, you'd just be playing the game on, you know, live streaming the game with not zero viewers, but you wouldn't be where you are, basically, right? I don't know. It's kind of like really, really frustrating. You know, I subscribed to Rurikon back in Iceborne. And it's not much of the sort of gameplay that I like, although I do like seeing him play the Gunlance. But it's not obviously optimal, and he does obviously say that as well. You know, which is fine. You know, it's not. You know, I don't normally watch YouTubers for how well they play the game. It's for the how fun the stream is, right? And you know, the sort of like the you probably see this also, though. You know, the face he makes when he plays Monster Hunter, when he gets in the zone and stuff like that. It's kind of
Yeah.
clear. I'm not trying to make fun of him or anything. It's just that's what sort of like I kind of, you know, enjoy watching. You know, because I probably tend to make those same expressions as well when I play as well. You know, we're practically like the same age, so we got a lot.
Yeah.
We got something in common, but it's just that it's weird. So I kind of unsubscribed, unfortunately, because this is not just for obviously Rurikon, but all influencers. But just to show you an example, oh, just 1 second. Just can't do this. Hold on. All right. Yeah, here. So when you start, Capcom sent me little supply crate to get ready for Monster Hunter Wilds, right? When you see, here's the thing. I feel there's like a sort of a standard or a principle, right? If you accept anything from a game publisher, you don't have credibility anymore in terms of giving your own opinion about the game, whether good or bad, right? Because you've accepted a gift from that publisher that made the game, or that developer that made the game. You know, I feel you can obviously play the game, stream the game, but if one of your viewers starts asking you, hey, how's the game? You know, your response should be, well, you know, I'm sorry, Mr. Viewer. As much as I want to give you my opinion on the game, I have accepted a gift from the company that makes the game. So, you know, I can't really give you an honest opinion. It's going to be a biased opinion. Right? And this is not just for Rurikon, right? This is for everyone else. If you accept something from a game publisher, in my book, you're unqualified to give your opinion on the game they make. You know? Yeah. And the other thing about the benchmark also here is this. So you remember when I said that he didn't make a benchmark of his 7900, right?
Yep.
He did make a benchmark of this. Now it's a screenshot. Beta performance is exactly what we're getting in the final game. Stop fooling yourselves. 10-year-old rig, by the way, on medium settings, and it looked really good. The Monster Hunter Wilds team cooked. This is a 2060, RTX 2060. I don't know what sort of fucking voodoo shit he did, dude, to get it to 52 without frame gen. Look, see, that's the thing. Look, I'm not gonna just, flat out call him a liar or anything. Maybe he did get it 52, but that's the thing about this atrocious benchmark. It's like people are getting different results, But I would have preferred that he showed it live. Or at the very least, screw this, right? Show us your 7900. Other YouTubers have. Right? Why not you? Well, because it's going to spark a very concerning subject, which we are talking about, right? It's although it is content, but it's content he doesn't wish to cover because obviously he values the game publisher more. At least that's what I'm getting out of it, right? I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, So it's sort of weird, kind of like marketing the game in a way to people that have a lesser GPUs. That it's okay to buy the game. This is the score I'm getting. Instead of telling them, look, I got the score on my 2060. I'll show it to you live. But if you are still not getting the same score, just wait. Don't buy the game. Don't buy the game. He talks a lot about honesty and stuff. You could check his streams and how he dislikes people that are not honest. I'm not seeing any honesty here, to be honest. So it's sort of weird. It's just that people are and I can understand how difficult it may be for him in a way, right? But if I had to choose in that situation, right, I would choose the people that got me to where I am, right? And he's not just playing Monster Hunter now. He's playing other games that people tune in to watch and everything like that, right? So, and also you playing the game, you're marketing the game, so you don't owe anything to the publishers. They owe you, kind of thing, but you owe a lot to your viewers. So it's sort of weird, what do you make of it, Louis?
Well, I mean, I think about it in terms of like, what my thing is, and this is just across the board for a lot of influencers, right? When you get in bed with a company, when you kind of get kickbacks from them, when you get like swag, when you get publicity, when you get early access, it's the same shit that happened to a lot of game journalists, right? Games media, right? Early access, inflate review scores, say the games are great even though they have like glaring problems, and then sweep any complaints under the rug and dismiss them, right? It's the same kind of gaslighting that caused like mainstream outlets to kind of fall out of favor, right? Kotaku, IGN, you name it, Destructoid. At its best, it's simple ignorance, right? At its best. At its worst, it's blatant gaslighting. And Rurikhan especially, I feel like he's kind of straddling that line between like being almost ignorant and
I
almost
honestly
like,
don't.
like a
No,
gaslighter.
I honestly don't believe he is ignorant. He's pretty smart. It's just that.
Well, I mean, ignorant in the sense that he's almost like, when I say
No,
ignorant, I mean
he
like
knows
the stuff of like talking about
listen.
RAM and all this other BS. Like, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't.
Yeah, I get that. Trying to, okay, I get that, but he knows exactly what he's.
And the thing is, it's like, given his personality, given how given his content creation style, he's a likable guy. So
Yeah,
it's very hard to
definitely.
believe that he would do something like that willingly.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's like some of his claims are so ridiculous that I can't. It's hard. It's really hard to like just look at it and say like, oh, this guy's like clearly in bed with Capcom and trying to gaslight the community. It feels like he is. But then you kind of think about the history he's had with his community and the goodwill, and it's like, well, maybe he's not. Maybe he legitimately thinks this is how things are. Which honestly, I mean, and there's kind of like this hopefulness that I have that I want to keep, and I'm sure a lot of other people in the community want to keep it, right? Like, hey, this can happen to all the other communities, right? But this can't happen to the Monster Hunter community. Capcom's not gonna come around and release a shoddy crap product that barely functions unless you have like the top of the line hardware to run it on, and even then it still looks like it still looks like shit.
Yeah.
And there's still like really, really bad frame drops, like I just think about it from that term, like in terms of that, and I'm like, I just keep looking, I'm like, and that comment Rurikhan made on his Twitter talking about how the Wilds team cooked. He's got a 10-year-old rig. I'm pretty sure he made a comment as a kind of disclaimer to say that the graphics card he used wasn't old, that he had like just gotten it. But the point still stands for me. It's like you're presenting it. Your initial comment is presenting this rig that you're giving the benchmark for as being a 10-year-old rig. People are only going to see the headline and they're going to look at the picture and they're not going to ask questions. But I do ask questions. The RTX 2060, that is not a 10-year-old graphics card. Come off it. That is not a 10-year-old graphics card. That card came out in like what, 2019, 2020? Let me double check. RTX 2060.
While you double check, let me show you this.
That graphics card came out in 2019. It has not been 10 years.
It has it? 2019.
2019. No, it has not been 10 years. Has it been
So
10 years, Duke? 2019? No.
No, obviously not.
No.
So wait,
No.
that comment was incorrect.
Yeah. And he kind of backpedaled in the comments for that. Hang on. Let me see if I can find it. Then he backpedaled in the comments and said, okay, it's a 2060 with an ancient CPU.
Okay.
And yes, that CPU that was released back in September of 2014. Yes, it has been over 10 years since that CPU has been released, right?
Right.
But he's not presenting it as, oh, I look at this 10-year-old CPU. He's presenting it as, hey, look, 10-year-old computer can run this game. yet the graphics card is literally like less than 10 years old. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, and I'm just like, I'm like sitting here and I'm like, okay, you know, Rory, my boy, like, you know, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure you can edit your posts on Twitter, can't you? Like, if you make a post, you can
Yeah.
go in and edit, right?
It'll
Why
show
hasn't
that
he
you edited it, but yeah.
Yeah, why hasn't he made an edit to say, you know, 10-year-old CPU with 5-6-year-old GPU, right? Be honest about it. Just be honest. Just say, look, the CPU is 10 plus years old, but the GPU is still
Yeah,
it was still made within, you know.
it's so misleading. You know, like someone looks at that tweet and has an RTX 2060. You know, I don't know.
And I mean, even then, like, I feel like the benchmark scores are inflated. I'm gonna be honest with you, Duke. Most of that benchmark is just. I know people say, well, you know, the point of the benchmark is to test your rig under load in various scenarios in the game. But
Yeah.
most people are primarily going to be out in the field playing the game. They're not
Look,
going to be
when a benchmark or a beta or benchmark starts with a prompt recommending frame generation, that's a bad sign.
It is.
You know.
You know, and it's
I
like,
don't know if it's going to do it in the final version, but I'm assuming it will. You know. And people are eating that shit up, dude. Like most of the images they post of their results, it's all frame generation. You know? I don't know. It's a very concerning topic, to be honest. Look, at the end, we just all we could do is hope that the game releases in a very good state. You know, because we want to experience the game, you know, as best as we can. Monster Hunter obviously is to me it's the best game out there. You know, like the like, you know, just going back and playing it all over again with World and stuff, you just don't get bored. You know? Like, there's so many weapons to experiment with as well, which sort of makes it like a whole new game, if you will, experience-wise, right? And we do want it to succeed, but at the same time, we have to be real. You know? You know, I appreciate the devs for giving us the betas and the benchmark, right? They did also announce that the final version will play much better, you know, but again, we tend to fall back on the benchmark because it's supposedly a representative of the final game. And I remember like this one YouTube video. I don't know if you were the one who sent it to me, Louis, where he did a sort of a comparison between the beta and the benchmark side by side, try to sort of mimic the transition and how the beta the tool the benchmark tool plays out, but in the beta. And the benchmark actually, I mean, the beta had better frame rates than the benchmark. Fucking weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, we don't want to stretch this too long. We just wanted to, you know, get this podcast out, voice our concerns, of which the concerns of many as well, same as many. And at the same time, hoping that, you know, the final version is gonna play a lot better than both the beta and the benchmark tool result. But yeah, I mean, anything else you want to say, Louis?
Nothing else, honestly. I mean, I think it just kind of speaks for itself, right? I mean, viewers don't believe us. I mean, they can go run the benchmark themselves.
Yep.
I'm sure they'll see with their own eyes how bad it is.
Yeah. And final thing to say, look, if you're not too sure, don't buy the game. I'm sorry. You know, as much as I love this game, don't buy it. Wait and see. You know, Capcom is not going to go broke, or the dev team, they're not going to fail if you don't pre-order the game or buy it on day one. You know, they expect sales through the whole fiscal year. So whenever you feel like the game is playable on your rig, then you could buy it. If it's not, don't. You know? And that's what YouTubers and influencers should fucking say. You know? But we'll just leave it at that, Louis, yeah?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Catch you later.